this is the third installment of the Gods of Wishes and Boy Rank that we were doing. We finished up now Karno, Teorus, Aigo, Lou, and now we're finishing up the last two gods that are on, and you're getting our comments, point for point hits, so
yes.
Yeah.
Welcome to the finale. Yeah, so thank you. Welcome back to the Latte Foam pod. We're just going to jump right in with the next in line, which is the kind of canon character of the first prologue set of guys, and that is Leon. He is the god of Leo from the original cast, and Yana is going to be explaining this one, so take it away.
Yes, okay, so in this one, just to recap the prologue, basically what happens is that the gods are coming, you're at this this little event for your job, you're about to fall off a roof because you were saving a kid, and you think of one god to save you, and you think of Leon. Leon saves you, and immediately cocky, he's like, you serve me now. Everybody's like, what a poor choice, dude.
Yeah.
Bad option. Wow, bad. And she's like, oh,
but other people are like, well, he is the king, almost the king status.
yeah. So then she's like, oh my god, did I make a poor choice? And everyone's like, yeah.
I feel like she can't win though.
Okay, so then he's like, we're getting out of here because I hate being around humans. And they leave all of the other gods there. And they go back to the mansion pretty instantaneously. Oh wait, no, actually before that. Because Teo stopped time. And basically, this is kind of a discrepancy starts because later they can't, and they don't explain how he could just use them right then and there, but it just stopped all of a sudden.
Yeah, because he wasn't touching her. It only makes sense in his own route where he catches her.
Yeah. So anyway, they go back to the mansion, and she's like, "All right, cool. I don't want to be here, so I gotta get up out of here." And immediately, he's just like, "Well, I just saved your life, and you owe me, so you can't go anywhere." And so he doesn't know why the sin, how the sin's gonna go away because the king gave him no details. So he's like, let's see if I just make this reincarnated goddess happy or feel the pleasure. But she doesn't know that's coming. So she's like, yeah, get the hell out of my face. And he's like, nope. And then he starts popping off her buttons, but not physically. He uses
loosen up my buttons, baby.
And she's like, what's going on? I'm not doing this. And he touches her and she feels she doesn't like it, and she's like, ew, don't touch me, but for whatever reason she can't explain why she feels immense pleasure from it. She's like,
yeah, it's she logically doesn't want to like it, but then her body's liking it still.
Yeah.
And also Leon is just kind of this is what I do. This is my value to women is to do this. So here I am. I'm just I'm a jig, hello.
And so she's like, no, but she's trying to stop the moan from coming. I didn't like that he's doing it, but when once it happens, he stops and he's like, I guess fulfilling wishes ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah, he realizes immediately that wasn't the key, so he's like, all right.
But he does the reaction he has. He gets a sick pleasure out of it. He's like, I kind of like that reaction on
yeah, that was new. Usually women just fall at my feet, and you didn't.
And then, as she's doing this, she's like, okay, I gotta get the hell up out of here. So, the mark's not fading, so she's like, I'm gonna run. And she dips. And she's like, I'm gonna run. And
dun, dun.
As she gets to the foyer, I think the other gods kind of burst in and they're like, oh geez, don't leave us, what the hell? And Leon, oh no, Leon's like, did you think you can outrun a god? And honestly, I kind of feel that for her, I feel that for him, because he's like, you're kind of dumb, you don't know, she got lost. She's like, I don't know how to leave this matrix of a house. He's like, did you think you could outrun a god? And she was like, honestly, yeah.
I believed in myself.
So then he starts popping off buttons again, and I don't think it's more in the sexual way. I think he does it because he thinks it's funny. You're gonna freak out so it's funny. And
yeah, I want to say some people, I saw someone online had said that it was a trigger warning for them, just his power in general, and that these a couple beginning scenes because they felt it was really unconsensual. But I just feel you have to know what you're getting into with it. So if that doesn't sound like something that you would want to see happen to your self-insert, then definitely don't play his. But I feel the way they did it makes sense, and it didn't feel rapey to me, even though it technically was, just because of his mindset in the heavens and how things work for him as a god. And then he just had to get adjusted with the human world.
And so then he snaps his fingers and he's like, but nothing nothing happens. So he's like, what? And so then it ends the chapter, and then they go to the living room because he's like, you're coming with me. And she does threaten to call the cops, and Leon's like, and do what? Oh, arrest these gods, no one's gonna believe you. So anyway, the other guys come in and
he constantly shoots her down. It's kind of funny.
So funny because he's dumb.
Because she comes up with harebrained schemes, and he's like, you're literally a little tiny goldfish top.
You're not doing it. So then the other gods come through, and what they again, she just left her job. So the gods are left to their own devices. they can still fly, so they get back to the like mansion and stuff. And like they all realize that they also can't use their powers. They can only fly. And Leon's like realizes this, and so then before they like discover how to use said powers, she's like, okay. They start insulting her like humans are like goldfish, because she's like, stop calling me that. And he's like, you're basically like goldfish to us. Like that's it. And she's like, cool. Like if you don't like me, let me go. And so Hue steps in, is like, guys, like you're gotta calm down. Like let me explain to her like what's good. And I'll say this: if somebody said like you're the reincarnated goddess, I would have been like, rape. I would have been like, don't do this. Anyway, so Hue does explain it to her, and she's like, you don't actually have proof of that. Like this is what I like about her. Actually questions more like, none of that makes sense, so no.
Yeah.
And so Leon basically blackmails her though. He's like, I just saved your life. You would have been squashed, dead. If you don't help me, like I'll like reverse all of it. And she's like, damn, you got a point. And so she's like, okay, I'll help you. Like just let me go home though. Like I don't want to stay here. And like we don't want you to stay here either. Like get out. And like Tio's the only one that's like kind of nice to her, because she's a girl and he thinks she's cute. So he's like, hey goddess, can you or no, he calls her Goldie.
Yeah.
Hey Goldie, can you buy us clothes? And Tio's actually really smart for this. Like I guess they could snap up, but he's like, buy us clothes, which I would say that this implies that she buys him such ugly ass outfit. Like, it's so crazy.
I feel like it makes him kind of dumb, because and also just like putting the MC out again and making her do the work when they could have just snapped. Like,
but I don't think they fully know what's going on. So like this makes sense. So then he's like, she's like, if I can leave, like I'll get you the clothes. Like it's no big problem, no big deal. And so then he's like, cool. And Leon's like, why would we get clothes? And Tio makes a good point, and it's just Hue is like, well, you don't know, we might have to go out into the earth to like make wishes. And he's like, I simply won't do that.
Yeah, Leon is like, oh really? Not me.
Not me.
I'm not a plebe.
Like
it was crazy.
Me. And so then basically they explain all of their roles, and then the door thing comes up, and he's like this is what connects, but like you can't go through it. We'll just like we can though. And I would be like, okay, I don't want to though, so good. And so she's like, okay, as long as I can go home, like we're good. And she's kind of fascinated, which I like that she's curious, because she's like, I think in some of the other routes, she's like takes it. She's like,
yeah, she just takes it at face. Whereas in Leon's route, she is more interested in the lore of the gods compared to the others, which I really, really liked.
So they explained their roles, and then basically like Leon doesn't help her get home. The other god, they think Ichthys and Tio do, and he goes off into this like pocket of darkness. And they're like, nobody goes in there. And I know this is a stupid thing, you're gonna kill me, but like, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh my
Charlie, they go into this like little hidey hole, and they're like, you're in Charlie's bad space. You don't want to be in Charlie's bad space. That's a very dark place to be. It's like this crawl space in the roof. Anyway, so basically, she goes to work the next day, and she's like, maybe it was like a dream. Maybe that just didn't happen. And that's how I would react. Like, that didn't happen. I was just tripping. And Hiyori's like, oh my god, like, why didn't you tell me you were sneaking off with your boyfriend? And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? And she's like, oh, the other guy said that you guys were dating. And I like that they're messy as shit.
Yeah.
You know, Tio and Ichthys were like, that's her boyfriend.
Yeah, they like set the whole thing up, you already know.
And then Scorpio did not acknowledge any of the humans, but you know Hugh's sadistic, and was like, yeah, that's her man.
Also, I do just want to note, like, I know we said it was the first prologue, but in case anyone's getting whiplash, because the past 3 routes we talked about, like, she wasn't allowed to go to Earth and it was all this stuff. That's just, like, not how it is in the first prologue, in case you don't know. Like, she's literally just going to be erasing their marks of sin.
Yeah.
No one's after her. It's more leisurely.
Yeah, the Dark King is, like, not a thing as of yet. The gods also say, like, that's her boyfriend, that's, like, basically she's gonna be a slave. Like, that's how it comes off to Hiyori. She's like, they're so funny, and it's like, they're not funny.
I know, Hiyori is kind of arrogant sometimes, because they'll say, like, the most off-the-wall stuff, and she's like, they're funny.
And so then she's like, I'm just gonna drop off the clothes and, like, call it a day. And so then she walks in, and she walks into basically an orgy. And it's
this
so
scene took
insane.
me so aback, because I remember whenever I replayed it, because I replayed Leon, like, I think 2 or 3 times. I really liked Leon's route.
Yeah.
As you can tell by being ranked so high, we both did. But I always forget about this scene, and it gives me the craziest whiplash. It's just him and Tio barebacking like 2 girls together in the living room. Like, could you imagine?
Anyone else?
Could you attention.
And they like talk shit to her because they're like, oh, you're a peeping Tom. I wanted to see what you're gonna do. You asked me to bring you clothes, and what was I gonna do? Like, hey, ladies. And why Tio can't keep his clothes on is beyond me. Keep your clothes on.
It's ridiculous. And the fact that Tio acts like he doesn't get bitches, like he has to try. You were barebacking one right next to the god.
And these women are basically like drunk in lust. So like Leon's basically opens up about his skepticism and stuff, but Tio spills the tea. And this is why I like Tio more as a side character than a main. He's a messy bitch. Like, I'm gonna tell the tea regardless. Like, I'm gonna snitch. So he says like, oh, do you want to know what Leon's sin is? He defiled a goddess.
Yeah.
And her naive mind was like, hey, they had sex? Like, they probably have sex all the time in the heavens. Stop.
Yeah, the way like it like came across though was like as though he like raped a goddess and like that's why he got sent down. But and like it's kind of like, oh well, that adds up, but that's not what it was.
Oh, that didn't come off to me. I felt like it was basically like he defiled her in a way that like was impure, like in a public setting or like I don't know. To me,
I got unconsensual for some reason.
What I got was that basically like they're supposed to not do, like goddesses are held to a higher standard, like her level.
And he like laid her out in front of people.
Yeah, and then basically was like, we're not together. Bye. Like that's like what I got.
Oh, okay, I just didn't get that from defiled.
Not that you're incorrect. That's maybe I'm just naive, you know.
Because he seems like disgusted by the fact that they would say he did that. Because like that isn't actually what he did by his account. So he's like. For them to say that is so wrong. This is what actually happened. So that's why I thought it must have been something worse. But they don't actually say what it is that they mean by that.
Yeah, I feel like some shit was exaggerated.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then she's like, that's kind of like she does say that's believable and stuff, and then she's like, well, he's like, the emotions are fickle and like love's not really a thing. It's like lust and that's it. And she's like, no, love is a thing. So yeah.
She's like, you're wrong on that. Sorry, bud.
And she's like, no, not at all. And then the chapter ends and they go into the next chapter. And she's like, listen here, bitch. I'm telling you right now, it's real. And he's like, it's not though.
He's like, it's literally an illusion.
Example. And she's like, I don't know.
And then she's like, challenges him, right?
Yeah. And then she challenges him and he's like, you're not giving me like you're saying it's such a good thing, but like it's an illusion and you can't even prove it. She's like, that might be true, but it is.
She's like, you just have to experience it and I'm gonna show you what it is.
And then basically like Tio's like he can use this is what I'm saying, the inconsistency. As long as she's in the room, she can use her powers because they pause time. Those other girls aren't saying anything because he paused time, but he's not touching her.
Yeah, whereas in like other routes they explicitly say that they need to touch, so it's like very confusing.
So then Leon's like, you know what, this is lame. Like I made a bet that you would be a peeping Tom, so like I won because he said that like I won Tio. So like I don't know what they bet though.
Yeah, it's just like an offhanded like thing.
And then he's like, I'm only speaking to you because I have to. Like if I didn't have to talk to your ass, I absolutely wouldn't. And I love that she gets so offended because she's like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I'm here because you made me be here.
Yeah.
Now you're treating me like shit.
Yeah, she starts to go toe-to-toe with him. Like, at first, like, he bests her a few times of, like, her little harebrained schemes, but then she starts getting a mouth on her.
And then, and so then he's like, yeah, like, love is an illusion. And I actually really love that she just says, wow, that's sad. Like, you're sad. he's like,
what?
Did you say to me? And this is what, like, again, Hugh is obviously, like, how we ranked him or whatever, but with Leon, their banter and their toe-to-toe makes their dynamic so perfect to me because she minces no words with this man. Like, she's like, I'm buckling my boots. And she's just like, you suck. Like,
yeah, like, to me, it really, like, inspired me when I was writing Minoru's route because, like, it comes up as a character that you wouldn't like and that you're just, like, morally this guy is, like, effed. Like, there's nothing redeemable about him.
Yeah.
And then, like, the clash and then the change in the development of coming around to, like, what the tea is, like, I love that about Leon's route.
Yeah, I really do. So, like, he's like, what did you say to me? And she's like, you basically don't trust anybody to be honest with you. So, like, you don't really understand the feeling of love. But she is, like, correct. And so she's like, which is fair, but, like, you clearly, like, don't know him. Like, so to just, like, say that shit to him, you know, we're chapter 3. But it's, I like that she says it. And he's like, since you know so much, since you got your degree and you know everything, like, show me. And then she's like, I mean, I can't, but, like, I'm determined to show you examples of love. Like, I'll take that challenge.
Yeah.
And, like, he's like, okay, cool. You know how you do that? Be my handmaiden. And I don't know how those would correlate, but he's like, you got to work for me now. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, that was the weird part about it, is it's like, how do you make the rules then if I'm supposed to be showing you?
Yeah.
Like, what love is? Like, you don't get to pick how that's done.
Yeah,
because
like,
you don't know anything about it, clearly.
So then he's like, I'll summon you when it's time. And she's like, okay, like, whatever. So then she's like back, and all of a sudden there's a ringing in her head, and she's like, oh God, he's summoning me. So it's like, she goes into his room, and I just want to say, hate his room. It's so ugly.
I feel like it could be worse. I do like that he has a little spa in it, but the color scheme that they chose was just piss poor.
It was bad. So then, anyway, she goes in there, and he, like, has the clothes, like, laid out. And he's like, how do you put on these clothes? And she jumps to a conclusion that makes sense, but she's just like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? How do you put, you're literally wearing clothes. And he's like, just show me. So she's like, I draw the line at the pants. Like, you have to put them on. He's like, when did I tell you to put on my pants? I just wanted to know the mechanics. Like, what dirty thoughts are you thinking about? And I know he does it to rile her up.
Yeah, he's definitely doing it to rile her up, because no other god has any trouble putting clothes on. Like, it's never an issue. He could literally snap and have them on. He doesn't need to know the mechanics anyways. Like,
yeah.
He does it because he wants to, like, just get under her skin.
Yeah, so it's, like, kind of funny, because, like, she immediately is like, I ain't putting your pants on.
Yeah.
He's like, did I ask you to? She's like, well, kind of.
And she's like, well, how else do I do that? How else do I show you?
So, like, he has her do, like, menial tasks, like, cleaning up and stuff, and, like, getting the paperwork and stuff, and she's just like, oh, like, I thought, like, it was gonna be something else. And he's like, get your mind out of the gutter, bitch. Like, but he's like, they knew.
Because the way that he says it is he's like, you're gonna serve my every whim until you satisfy me. And, like, by that, he's like, yeah, can you dust that corner?
Yeah, he's like, entertain me. Like, what does that mean? So then, like, she feels like, oh, he's gonna ask for food. Because at this point, she doesn't know that they don't need to eat.
Yeah.
And again, their reason is that, like, they don't make it clear that they don't. Again, like, when they say, like, we don't need sleep, the bed says otherwise.
Yeah, like, she has to be told these things, because it is very unclear, because it very much looks like the way, like, humans do things, like having a bed and, like, having a dining room.
Because they scoff at her for it, but I'm like, dude, you literally have very clear items that would indicate to me that you need that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, y'all. Like,
and as you think of, like, serving someone, if somebody needs maid work done for them, like, why would they not also need cooking? Yeah.
So she's like, I don't want to work in an unfamiliar kitchen, so I'll just bake food and bring it. So I don't know how she draws on the conclusion and make meatballs. But like,
all she had in her kitchen was beef and tomato paste. So she was like, okay, well, this is what I'm gonna have to do.
So then she's summoned again, and she's like, or she goes back and she has it, and so she's like, I made you food, and he's like, I don't need food, and she's like, I don't know that, so like, nobody told me the rules. And so then he's like, I'll try it, like, since you're trying to, like, offer me something. And this is what I like about his personality too, is that, like, rather, like, he says what he's thinking, but also is like teasing her at the same time. Like,
yeah.
Oh, like, you're trying to do this, like, you know you want to try it.
When he teases her too, I feel like the thing he doesn't do is he doesn't, like, he kind of doesn't. Like, he doesn't pretend, he doesn't hide his true feelings.
No.
At the same time. Like, he teases her, but he's not like a tsundere hiding his true feelings.
You
like,
very much know
he's self-confident in himself, and he's just going to say what it is.
Right.
And I think that's so sexy of him.
Me, I love Scorpio because he's a student, you know? Like, don't tell me how you feel.
Listen, I have multiple types. We make Otome games. We have multiple types.
So then he actually, like, loves them, but he won't, like, fully say that. He's just like,
he clearly is so delighted, though.
Yeah, so then he's like, I think he, like, eats the whole thing. And so then...
Yeah, he doesn't hide that he likes them, but he just, like, doesn't give her, like, a crazy amount of praise.
Yeah, he just gives her a pass. And so then more days pass, and she's getting summoned again. But I think she's in the bath at this point.
Yeah, and he has a rule where she's got to be there within a certain amount of time. And so she's like, can he just wait for me to bathe?
He does kind of remind me of Ace Day.
Yeah.
I just want to say sidebar, but always feel like Yusuke, and why we said that is crazy.
We thought it was Eugene at first before we took Japanese classes, and then we started saying Yusuke.
Which is worse, by the way.
Yeah.
Just want to make that clear. Like, Eugene to Yusuke is bad, because it would have been like, you know how to say words, like, at the very minimum.
It's now Ace, ladies.
It was always, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so then she's in the bath, and, like, she doesn't come, and then he just pops up. And he's like, I literally said, bring your ass. And she's like, I'm trying to shower. Like, you can wait.
And then all of a sudden, she's like, wait a minute, I'm naked.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't care about your body.
Yeah.
Like, okay, rude. Here's the thing that I don't like that they sometimes do is that the thing that kills me is they always make that as a thing. Like, I don't care about, I don't like your puny, ugly body. Like, your plain ass body, your plain looks. And then they fall in love with you, and you're like, you're the most beautiful woman in the universe. Like, I was ugly though, remember?
At least though, I will say, I like in Leon's that he's still clearly flirting with her though when he says it. Like, whereas like when I says he's not interested in her body, he meant that with his chest, and he didn't even mean it mean. Like, he just wasn't.
He said, girl, don't worry, you don't interest me in any way.
Like, just like, I don't like Italian food. Like, just something very simple. Like, he said it like it's a preference.
He said, hey, she was like, us sleeping together. He said, you and Gus, don't worry.
Whereas when Leon does it, he's like, oh, don't worry. Like, he like cocks his head up. He's like, I'm not interested. But he's like looking you up and down, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, like, you love these double D's.
You love it. Like, what are you talking about, Scrawny?
So then they go back to Leon, to the mansion, and there's where we meet Vega, like in Leon's route.
Yeah.
And I feel that Vega has a crush on Leon.
Yeah, she does. And Altair gets like jealous.
Yeah, I love Altair. Anyway, this is a stupid thing, but in a special where you're the goddess and Scorpio isn't, Altair's with him. He takes care of him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like big brother, little brother. And like, I don't know, this is a stupid line, but like, she's talking to Scorpio, and then Altair needs toilet paper. And he's like, why his name is Scorpio when he's not a god makes no sense. But he's like, Scorpio, I need toilet paper. And it's like, if you read it, it would make more, it'd be so much funnier. But like, it's not funny as I'm saying it out loud. I'm sorry.
It's funny. I thought it was amusing.
It was amusing in the context, like the full context of what they're doing, you know? But anyway, so Vega's there, and so she's like, you all are like slacking on your work, and I get it, you don't have your powers, but Karno said you just do it anyway. And everyone is like, oh shit, if Karno says it, Leon's gonna do it. And like, then he does. I like this scene though because it shows Leon in work mode, and though he's like half-assed, like was lazy, but like in it he's like, all right, he gets the most shit done.
Yeah, he's the movement.
Yeah.
Like, he starts getting people together.
And he looks at the paperwork and he goes to Tio and he said, when the hell did I say that you could just grant women's wishes? And
yeah,
Tio's
like, he looks over their work, so that's what I liked about it, too.
Yeah, and Tio's like, and he's like, get it done. Like,
Tio's so much better in other people's route, because he's so much better as a side character.
Yeah, and so she even comments, like, yeah, he's feared, but he's very clearly respected. Like,
yeah,
they have their banter, but everyone clearly has such a respect for him, and, like, I like that about him. Like, yeah, he's scary, but, like, you know.
He gets it together.
My little book.
You having that handwritten out, I just want to say, it's so wild.
I haven't, like, it just helps me, like, remember things.
Yeah.
And, like, the only time I don't randomly is for our stuff. I know that nobody's out there trying to steal our stuff, but, like, I always worry that I forget my shit. And then someone's like, oh, an idea. No one's gonna get it, though.
It's, like, more likely that they've hacked our computer.
Yeah, like, my handwritten notes are gonna be like, this chick is scratched it. But anyway.
I really like handwriting things, too, but it cannot be this long. I just won't do it.
Yeah, so then they all head back to Leon's room. So a thing about the vice minister, the ministers of it, is that they get actually reflecting pools in their room.
Yes.
Whereas all the other gods have to share this reflecting pool in this like grand room, but they get their own because they're high ranking. Because Zaglavas has one too. And so
Karno doesn't though.
The vices don't.
Oh, okay.
Scorpio doesn't either.
Okay.
Just the ministers, like the. I guess they're the ministers and the vice ministers. So the ministers do, but the vices don't.
Yeah, always I'm like, what is Leo's title again? And it's this minister.
Yeah. So
my hair is like getting so tangled.
So this is where then they contradict within their own route. He can't do his job without touching the MC, but Tio disproved that earlier by saying that as long as she was within the vicinity, she could. Because in this one, Leon touches her.
Yeah.
And they like see the reflecting pool, and then he's like, I'm gonna grant a wish. So the wish that they see is this little grandson and his old grandma. He feels like he's struggling because he's not strong enough to help her out. And so he's like, I'll grant this wish. And so he's like, cool, it's done. He's like, that's nothing, it's whatever. She's like, that's actually a form of love. Because he wished that he was strong enough to help his grandma. He granted it, now he can. That's for the love that he has for her. And Leon's kind of surprised, what?
Sorry, I just completely forgot this too, because what you were talking about earlier about them contradicting the powers.
Yeah.
Like, them having that power over those girls when him and Tio are tag teaming those bitches, like, she wasn't there at all when they were doing that, and he was doing the pleasure thing. So it's like, that didn't make sense.
I think that they just were like into them because they're so attractive.
Yeah, it's just like the way like she described it was like
how did they get there? You know, they just like pick them up at a random spot and like come back to our place.
Yeah, like maybe they started giving him some of like Hue's spirits because they're basically a date, right?
You know? Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, back to the cute moments.
So then, basically, he's like, that's it, I'm only gonna grab one. And Vega, like, loses it. She's like, what do you mean?
He's like,
one?
you basically did nothing.
Yeah, like, she's like, I'm gonna do like Karno. And she's like, do it. Like, why do you always mention Karno when you're asking me to do it? And she's like, because that's the only way you listen. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so then he's like, I'm tired because the earth tires me out. But, like, he is kind of shook when she proves his point. So he's like, cool, whatever. So he's like, I'm gonna go take a bath and you're gonna serve me. And I get why she thinks that. She's like, am I gonna have to get in the bath? But it's kind of a stupid thought because she's like, you just got out of the bath. Why would you be like, get in this bath, bitch? Like, that doesn't
She does, though, doesn't she?
She falls in. So they go and he's like, serve me alcohol. And she's like, okay. And then Iketis shows up. And he's like, it's not fair that you're getting hogged because we're behind on our work, too.
Yeah.
And Leon's like, get the hell up out of here, stop touching her before I tell Scorpio. And it's like, what is he gonna do? Like, what? And so he drops her. Like, or he's like, ooh, like, no, wait a second. And he drops her to tease her. Like, why would you drop a woman, like any person, in a bath? Like, a lot of people, like, I get people can say, like, how is she drowning in a bath water? But if you're not expecting to fall in a body of water, the instant thing that you would do is drown because you don't.
I just feel like they just didn't think of that, like, as gods.
So she's drowning, and it's not like Iketis is like, oopsie, like, let me save her. Leon saves her, and Iketis was like, I was just teasing you. The way I don't have to beat your ass? Like, what do you mean? And so then, like, Leon's like, you're just always causing trouble. Like, see what you get for, like, not staying in your place. And, like, I can get where she's like, what are you talking about? I was here because you made me be here.
Yeah.
Like, if you would just do your thing. And so, basically, Iketis leaves, and she then has the courage to be like, so what did that mean you defiled the goddess? Because that didn't actually make any sense.
Yeah.
And so he says that, like, do you want to find out? And he kind of towers over her, and she's just like...
Which is, again, what made me think of, like, rape, because he's like, you want to see what I did? And he's, like, getting all up close to her.
Yeah, and she's like, I mean, are you going to tell me, though, or what? He doesn't back down, so he does explain. So what happened is that, like, this goddess was into him, but it more or less sounded for, like, the fact that he was Leon, the minister of the wishes, and he did not reciprocate, so she kind of, like, went insane. Yeah. I assume, though, that they messed around. Like, they definitely had sex, and, like, in her mind, and he probably did, like, enhance it because she knows what his powers are. Yeah. So she asked for it, and so then she thinks that they had a genuine connection, and he didn't.
And he was like, no, just doing what I do.
Yeah, I'm just banging. And then so she lost it.
Which, honestly, like, thinking in, like, future, like, after stories and stuff, it's like, oh my god, I'd be so jealous.
Oh,
all day. Like, and there are all the goddesses around, like, oh my god, and you probably bang them all.
Yeah, because I would say, like, is that your friend? Is that your friend?
Like,
is that your friend? Like,
anyone who passes, even men.
Ain't your girlfriend? Oh, look, there goes your little girlfriend. Like, you couldn't take me out anywhere. No way.
And they go to, like, parties and stuff, and it's like, oh, I just couldn't do that atmosphere.
Because I can't. It's so disrespectful that a woman would come up to me and be like, we used to fuck. I'd be like, what do you mean? And she'd be like, I just told you what I meant. I'd be like, bet.
Because goddesses literally will just come up to him and be like, can you use your powers on me? Yeah. All the time.
And I'd be like, you're single. Tonight.
Yeah.
You're single. Goodbye. Hue, please take me out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, Huey.
Because I have, like, in one of Hue's epilogues or something, they go out to a ball and stuff, and, like, the king says that Ziglavis has to take her to the ball. And Hue doesn't fight against it. He's like, I'll just take another goddess. Lose it. Like,
honestly, no. I remember that, and I did play that one, and I got very upset.
And then he was like, I was crazy jealous. Not crazy jealous enough not to go with another girl. Like, to me, if you're saying I'm jealous, that means you can't look at nobody else. Like, the thought of touching someone else makes you want to recoil your hand, or you're going to throw up.
Yeah, you don't even look.
If you're not giving me that kind of love, don't talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like Zig. I was required to go. But you went with a goddess, and she was trying to steal you from me, and you let her think she had a chance? Broken up with. That's
absolutely not. And as you can tell, you are dealing with two heavy earth sign people here because we're so jealous.
Don't do me. So anyway, like, that basically leads to, like, she tells him, and then she feels bad because she's like, damn, that's kind of crazy. Like, she believed that there was something happening, but he never told her. And so she, like, to fall from grace is a pretty huge thing. Mm-hmm. And, like, now that's a mark on him and his reputation. So anyway, like,
which, if you think about it, doesn't really make sense. Because it's like, why would they, like, just believe the goddess who went insane? And, like, it leads you to believe, like, is that really why he's...
Yeah. Basically, like, she explains, like, the we were saying we were super, like, we would get super jealous, whatever, but... So anyway, like that kind of like ends that, and so she keeps getting summoned, like, and she's like, yeah, like, and she's like getting used to it, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I need to do work today because Vega comes back and is like, you better do it or I'll tell Karno. She's like, he goes, why do you keep using Karno? Like that's gonna get you out of shit. And she's like, cause it's not. And everybody says like Karno's actually kind of frightening. So the fact that they go and he's like, he's actually a really nice guy, like, piss off.
I think, like, the truth of it is Leon just has a soft spot for him. Because at the end of the day, Leon is Karno's boss.
Yeah.
Why is Karno scaring him? Like, it makes no sense.
But you know what I hate Karno does? I'm sorry to, like, to shit on him again. I hate that he does, like, the eye wink and he's like, don't do that. Like, what are you, Popeye the Sailor Man? I feel like his ear sticks out. I feel like the hair that goes in the middle of his brow makes him look like he has a unibrow. And I overall don't like him. Which I know makes you sound so shallow because it's like a nice sprite. I just feel mean, but I thought he looked goofy. So anyway, she goes and they go in to see the reflecting pool, and then it's too dirty because of the atmosphere and stuff. Like it's whatever. So they have to actually go to Earth. So he has to put on the clothes. I actually really love his little Earth outfit. So hot, the little V. I was like, zing.
Oh my god. Leon is so hot, you guys.
He's so hot.
He's another one that's just there's an expression where he'll be like at the side looking hot, and then he turns to look at you, and it looks like a Karen haircut, and it's bad.
Yeah, he definitely looks like I want my receipt.
I want to the manager.
I want my return, even though this is 180 days past the return date. Like crazy.
That's why I's the hottest, like, of all wishes, I think, because he doesn't have one bad sprite. Leon, I feel like, is probably second, because he just has one bad little...
I would say, and then Hugh's third.
Yeah, Hugh's probably third.
So anyway, with that said, like, they go out, and they're about to catch the train. And here's another stupid thing. He can fly, and he can teleport, so why do you would be like, let's catch a train? And, like, all these girls flock to him, and he's like... Yeah, like, I'm not really interested. And, like, the MC's kind of, like, annoyed by it because she's like, oh, here we go. I
think the reason they catch the plane is because, like, at the train station is where they need to do the wish thing.
Oh, correct. Yeah. Right. Either way. So then she drags him on the train. He's like, why would I be on this ugly, nasty thing? So they see Hiyori, and she's arguing with her boyfriend. And she's like, well, you just don't get it. So Hiyori does what I would do, is betray her own words and say, like, then just leave, like, get out of my face. Like, I'm famous for this. Like, if someone's like, I'm done talking to you, even though I don't want to, I'd be like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
It's a very not nice. Like, the way it comes to us, I'm like, okay, good.
And they do, like, the be careful what you wish for kind of thing. So he grants
it, and the guy, like, train leaves. And so Hiyori's, like, devastated. And the MC's like, are you dumb?
Yeah.
Like, what? That's not what she wanted. He's like, then she shouldn't have wished for that. And he's like, like, you don't get humans at all. Like, that's crazy.
Like that's not what she really wanted deep down.
Yeah, he's like, why do you care? Like, it doesn't involve me. And she's like, I want Hiyori's happiness. That's important to me. So, like, I'm going to give her true wish. And she, like, grabs onto Leon and shoves him on the train. She's like, we're going to follow. And I'm going to fix this. And he's like, what? And so he's like, they get to this beach area. And she's like, I know where. Here's what I don't get. How did they know where the boyfriend was going?
They don't. So they don't follow him from my recollection. I thought she just texts Hiyori and is like, hey girl, want to meet at the park? And Hiyori's like, yeah, I guess I'm free now, so I'll come meet you at the park. And then they go, okay, now I need you to use your powers to get him here. And so he's walking his dog, and then like, yeah.
Okay, because I was like, they just assumed, huh? So then, this is crazy, but, oh no, wait, that's a wholly different game, my bad.
It's 10 p.m. I'm dead. That's a whole different game.
I came in. Woo! Anyway, so she's like, so why does Hiyori 2 not concerned that she never shows up?
Art's crazy. Because then the next day at work, she's just like, oh yeah, sorry, I couldn't make it. And she's like, it's okay. Like, I ended up like meeting up with my.
I can't go with you. Like, you couldn't, bitch. Anyway, so they like meet up, but they're not saying anything. So Leon snaps his fingers and is like
the scarf,
and they spark a conversation. And she's like, okay, like great. And so
your last movement that you got it.
He's like, that was so, like, what cringy kind of thing. And she's like, no, like, I did something that makes Hue happy because her happiness is my happiness and I love her.
Yeah,
so
and now they've communicated and they're in a better place. And, like, she was trying to teach him about, like love and, like, the work that it is.
Yeah, so then they go back to the mansion. And he, like, disappears into his special place. But Karno's there to greet them. And this pisses me off so bad because Karno's like, oh, you must be the reincarnated goddess. You know who I am. Because you literally talking about our past. Like, don't do me, Karno.
So fake. Him and Hue, it's just a little bit like, come on, guys.
Like, so him and Hue are talking about what's been going on and stuff. And then he's like, oh, I see that, like, you're doing your work. And Leon's, like, pissed off. Like, leave me alone. So then he was like, oh, as a gratitude to you doing your work, because it's like clear that your mark is starting to fade, I'll throw a party. And everyone's like, in my mind, it's like, what warranted the party?
It's just like a trait of the gods in this game, is like they like to party.
Because let's just make this clear. His mark is fading, it's not gone, and no offense, but there's several other gods to go through. Like,
yeah, like we haven't done that good overall. Like,
we're actually doing pretty bad.
Our batting average is like 0.5 out of 6.
So then Leon just is like, y'all can do what you want, but I'm gonna, oh no, they go to the party, because she's like, you should come, Leon, and he's like, I guess. Like, fine. And so they're throwing the party, blah, 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 blah. She's drinking, and Leon's like, I don't want to be here anymore. So, like, he leaves off to his special place. Oh, no, actually, before that, they're at the table to eat, and he's like, it's missing something.
Yes, this part was so cute.
He snaps his fingers, and the meatballs, and it is so cute that he explains this to them, because he's like, it's this divine treat, meatballs.
Yeah.
I don't know why, it's like a little, like, almost like a kid that's, like, so proud to show you something, and that's how it comes across.
Yeah, and I love the way he titles, like, the full dish. He's like, meatballs simmered in tomato sauce.
Yeah.
And he, like, is having everyone try it and, like, putting it in their mouth. I just thought it was so cute.
And he eats and he's like, it's not as good. So she's like, that means that you like mine. He's like, don't get too big for your britches. But he doesn't deny that that's the fact.
Yeah, because he basically says yours were better.
Yeah, so then Leon, like, leaves. And so then she's kind of, like, drunk. And she's like, you know, like, I'm going to go too. Like, it's not fun without Leon. It's like, girl, like, just say you into him. So then she can see that his, like, little special thing is, like, open. Like, that black one. She's like, ooh, I shouldn't peek in. Does it. And so she's like, oh, and Leon catches her, and he's like, you have, like, a lot of balls to, like, just go into my shit. And she's like, I was just, like, curious, and, like, the door was open. And he's like, you can come in, like, as a reward for your, like, helping me with my job, I'll, like, let you be in here.
This is, like, my favorite, like, scene, and this was, like, the scene of him that I was like, I really like him.
I'm into him, you know?
I'm into him.
And so I just want to say there's a funny fact about me that we'll tell later after the ranking, that, like, it's just, I'm a joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a joke for it. But anyway.
Wait, what?
All of the stuff I bought.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that again. You're right.
So then she goes in, and it's like this really beautiful place, and she comments on it. She's like, it's so pretty. He's like, even Earth has, like, pretty places.
Yeah.
And he describes that they were once together, and then, like, because of, like, the jealousy and all of that they separated.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, dang, that's crazy. And he explains that, like, being at the top, everybody sees you as a way up, and that, like, nobody really wants to know you, they just want your power, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so she's like, it could be really, really lonely. And she does apologize for her, like, kind of quick comments of, like, love can be, like, it can be lonely, and I have no really rights to say because I have no way to prove it, but I think that love can make you stronger. Like, I may not have, like, this great love, but I love Hiyori as an example, not her parents, but, like, and I want her happy, and that's, like, love a lot. And so he's like, as long as they're happy. And so he's kind of, like, shook, like, why would you say that? And then some wind gusts, remember? And she's like, what the hell? And so they cling on to each other.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I just remember being like, Leon.
Yeah, so she's like, I'm just gonna head out. And he's like, okay, I'll be out in a second. And then she leaves, and Karno catches her. And he's like, where you been? And she's like, I was in Leon's special place. And this surprises the shit out of Karno. Because he's like, it goes to say that none of the punishment gods would ever be in there. But I even haven't been invited in there. So that means you're special. And she's like, special? And he's like, let me tell you something right now. I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. But you're a human and he's a god. You cannot fall in love with him. And he can't treat humans unequally. She's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I told you a warning. This is what kills me with them. It's not like they tell them shit. They're just like, know that. And she's like, okay.
They wait until she seems to catch feelings, and they're like, just so you know,
yeah,
it's a no-go.
So then, anyway, so she's like, there's no favoritism. So she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so then the next day, she always like does that dumb shit. She's like, oh yeah, like I totally forgot. Like we were supposed to meet up. Like what did you want to meet up about? And she's like, you didn't text her the entire night. Like, hey, sorry, I didn't meet up with your ass.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so then she's like, me and my boyfriend are doing well. She's like, you should like rent the planetarium for the night after hours and like
yeah. MC suggests that.
Yeah, and so he was like, oh my god, I was so gonna do that. And so then she's like, cool, bing, bing, bing. And so then, she's like locking up, and then it's like the night that they do it or whatever. And I think the bell goes off in her head, but she's like, I'm at work, like no. And so then she notices on the camera that Hyory's being attacked. And so she screams to Leon, and
that is when the loud wishes come in.
Yeah. And so he's like, you don't gotta yell. Like your wishes are particularly loud. Like I can hear when they come in pretty quickly. And then she kind of doesn't say anything. She's like, that's great, but like I need you to save Hyory. Like
she's getting literally sexually assaulted.
And he's like, you got a lot of nerve. Like, you know, ordering out of God. And I'd be like, now's not the time. You know
like, I don't need your mouth now. Like, go save them.
And so then she's like, if you just help them, like, I'll do anything you ask. Like, dude, you do that now. Like, what
You're literally his handmaiden.
And so they bust through, and they see Hyory being basically almost raped. And so he stopped, like, she helps Hyory up and, like, slaps the dude, and he's like, all I'm in this for is like sex, like, and you're not even gonna put out, prude.
Which is what pisses me off, that they use this same, because it's really not her boyfriend. It's a guy she just started seeing, and then it turns out that he tried to sexually assault her. So the fact that they used that same sprite as like her longtime boyfriend in Karno's route just pissed me off for some reason. Like I just hated that they did, because I now associate him as bad guy, so I don't want to see him on my screen again in a positive light.
Yeah. So then, basically, after that goes down, the guy goes to swing at the MC.
Because she's the one who stops him, not Leo, if we didn't get that clear.
Like, she gets behind Leon, and, like, Leon's like, how don't you dare think you can touch, like, my goddess. Like, basically.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And, like, has him, like, bow down. He starts losing control of his powers.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my god, Leon. And this is, like, kind of pig me. She's like, Leon, look at me. Like, you don't gotta do this. Like,
I just,
baby, you're good. And, like.
Because he's going, like, too far, because he saw someone try to swing at his woman now. Basically.
Yeah, he's like, not my woman.
He's like, oh no.
Nuh-uh.
And he's like MC's like, you're gonna kill him. Like, stop.
Yeah, and so the guy like dips out, and then she like helps you. Like Hyory's like, you know, before I would have just like taken it, but like I'm good now. She just bops off. She's like, thanks, bye. And it's actually kind of cute. She's like, thank you. And Leon's all like, you're welcome. He's like, okay.
I also found like what's kind of cute is because she feels like, dang, like I was supposed to be teaching Leon about love, and I was trying to show him like Hyory and her boyfriend, like how I was right to like keep them together, but she ended up being wrong.
Yeah.
But Leon still learns from her because he learned how she loves her friend.
And I would feel like you know how like when you're like, damn, I was so wrong and I feel stupid, you know?
Yeah, but then the meanwhile he's like, no, I mean you care about your friend so much that you did all of that, and like that's what love is.
Yeah, so then he's like, what are you gonna do to make this up for me? And she's like, what if I take you to a festival? He's like, what? And so then she's like, no, like, it's pretty cool. He's like, okay. So he agrees, because he's, at this point, is into her. Like, it's very, very
clear. He's now going on dates with her on Earth, and he used to hate that stuff.
Yeah.
So and this is a particularly cute scene.
I like this, though, because, again, Leon doesn't hide his emotions for her. It's that it's very clear that he likes her. So he's like, okay. So he's like, yeah, like, pretty cool. So they go to this goldfish thing, and he, like, gets her goldfish.
It reminds me of the scene that we have in Evermore in the winter special. At the end, if you choose to be with Daichi and Kyosuke, you go to like a festival and you do the same goldfish game.
Yeah, so then he wins her a goldfish, and he's like, you keep it alive. And she's like, okay. And while they're out, they see fireworks. And this is where they kind of say that like the reason why they don't have like modern technology and stuff is like, if it's not like basically naturally created, it's not, they don't make it. Which I think is stupid.
Because technically everything is created from men, which are natural people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's just a dumb thing to say. But
I did like that background, though, the fireworks.
The fireworks. He's like, these are like, you know, these are decent. I'm like, these are cool, like, whatever.
Another thing that I forgot to mention is that he always says, oh ho.
Yeah.
And he says it in front of the fireworks, and that just, like, flashed my mind.
And so then, Zig Lavis just shows up. And is like, oh, like, what is it that you're doing? Like, were you out with her on a date? Like, are you serious? Like, you know you can't do this. And here's the thing. Zig Lavis is a stickler for the rules. Is like you can't like treat humans unequally and like you're gonna do damage to the earth because I heard your powers are getting under control. And MC's like, wait, what? And then he was like, what if I like? Then Zig Lavis is like, what if I do throw a powerball at you? There's humans here.
Yeah.
Like, what is your problem? And so then like Zig Lavis threatens her and is like, I'm gonna take her away and like basically almost extinguish her.
And Leon
like,
freaks out. Yeah.
He's like, hail to the nah. You're not gonna touch my girl. Like, not at all. And Zig Lavis is like, such a snitch. And he's like, I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna tell Dad.
Just so you know, he's like, that's interesting, cuz. And then he runs away.
He's like, guess what? I'm gonna tell Dad. And so then, like, basically, she's like, what the hell is going on? Like, I don't get it. And he's like, don't worry about it. Like, oh, no. Wait. Before that even happens, that he's gonna tell. She holds on to him and it hurts her, and that's what makes him stop because she like basically recoils back in pain, and he feels horrible.
Because she tries to stop him from hurting Ziglavis, and it ends up hurting her because he can't really control his powers right now.
Yeah,
because he's experiencing all these new feelings.
And she gets sick, but before she gets sick, she goes to check on him, and I like this very vulnerable moment. He asks her if he's scared of him, and she says, "Yeah, I am. But I don't care, I want to be with you." And he's like, don't touch me, don't talk to me, we can't be around each other anymore. But the reactiveness of whatever happened with his powers makes her sick.
Yeah.
Like, Hugh goes and checks on her, and I feel so fucking sad for Hugh in this.
I feel horrid for Hugh, especially because Leon knows.
Yeah, it's not like he's like shocked. He knew.
Yeah, he knew.
So then the MC's like, okay, so then Hugh's like, the mark is fading, but like, MC gets really depressed, like, it's fading, which means he'll leave and like I'll never see him again.
And he's literally the love of her life.
And so basically she goes to see him again and they go out to the balcony and then he's like, this is the last, he takes her to go see the stars. Yeah. And he's like, this is my thank you for my mark's gone basically. And this is the last time we'll see each other, like it's a goodbye.
Yeah, you're like up in front of the full moon, like a beautiful night, and he's like, goodbye.
But like Snitchy LePew over here is like, I told Dad, like, you getting arrested. He was like let them have their moment, but like Zig's like, nah, dude, like he committed a super sin, dude, super sin.
Like I don't know how this got rid of his sin because this is a new sin.
Yeah, like you're gonna atone for your crimes, and like the MC freaks out. She's like, I don't want to be without you, and so she's like, I want to be with you. Like that's my one wish. And like Zig's like, I'm gonna grant a wish for you then. Like the Leon drop made me dislike Zig so bad.
I know. Yeah.
And so then he's like, I'll bring you with you. And I don't think that this happens in any other time. But basically she's agreeing to be dead. Like, I'll leave my physical body here and be dead. And so
yeah, she does.
Leon's like, don't do that, dumbass. And then she's like, nope, if it means I get to be with you. So then they go into this high court. And again, snitch ass Zig is like, are you gonna admit your crimes? And he does. He's like, yeah, I'm in love with her. And she's like, I'm in love with you too.
I just loved how confident it was. It's like, we're gonna confess our love like here in court.
And so Zig's like, basically like, what you're asking for is death. And so he's like, here's the thing, like, I'm not gonna kill you because the balance will be so bad we can't fix it. So I'll just kill her instead. It's like, what a stupid thing to say.
Zig's actually the bad guy in Hugh's route too.
He's a bad guy in a lot of their routes.
Yeah.
But like, it is, I get what his thing is, but sometimes, like, again, the reason I like Zig is because he's such a stick in the mud that you're like, oh my god, I can see why nobody likes you.
Like, that's genuinely why I thought he was a side character, because I thought he was the villain. Because, like, with this first prologue, there is no, like, villain.
In Scorpios, he's such a villain, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Threatens my life constantly, like, calm down, we don't even know each other.
Yeah.
And then, anyway, so, like, Leon kind of gets out of control with his powers, and he's like, how about I kill everybody in this room and I start the heavens anew because I have the power to do so and I just be with her. And if that, like, because he basically, like, the way Zix presents it is that no matter what, he can never be with her. And so he's like, what if I just kill everybody in this room?
Yeah, and the way Leon presents it is, I'm willing to do anything, so.
That's what he says, like, I'll just kill everybody here. And then even the MC's like, that's a bit extreme.
I feel like Leon's like this, like, untamed beast, and like MC's like, simmer down, honey.
Like, and then this is the first time she runs to her parents. She's like, let me just get this right. If you do that, I'll never be able to say goodbye to anybody. That's horrifying. No.
Yeah.
And I would feel bad for his friends because I can imagine like Hue and them being like, what the hell I do?
I know, like,
what are you talking about?
I've been having a good run.
So then she like is like, calm down, blah 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 blah, and then like he finally does, and she's like, I love you. So like, let's just like have this moment together. And then the king's ass comes in, and he's like, you like unruly lion, and like. it's basically like a father-son relationship I feel like they have.
Yeah.
And then he's like, the king like knew that this was gonna happen. He's like, you learn the ways of love. So like, you know what? I'll let you have this one thing. Like, I'm gonna let you eat. And so he's like, if you guys want to be together, like, I'll let you, but like, calm down.
Yeah, because he like basically reveals like that was his true sin, was not knowing what love is.
Yeah. So then they like get together. Zig is so pissed off. He's like,
oh my god.
If you gonna just let anybody do some shit, like what? And so they go back to like special place, and he's like, you've taught me like the ways of love, and like I love you so much, like we're gonna be together. And like he says like, you've made me such a sap, it's disgusting. Like I'm just letting anybody just say like everything you say is so endearing, and I hate that shit. Like I'm gonna make you basically pay for making me fall in love with you by making you be more in love with me.
Yeah.
And so,
which is so cute to me. And then they start playing that like adorable song, that banger of a song, like that. Dun, 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 dun. It's so good.
So then they're like together, and that's how it ends, and like that's the route.
I mean, come on, guys. Just it's like, because this is the first one we're reviewing from that original cast. Because we did Tio first, because he was the worst, and then
First is the worst.
And then it was just like the second wave cast, the next three, and this is the first one going back to that original plot. And so if you just think back to Tio and compare it. Come on, like it's so much grander. The fact that the king actually appears, you actually go to the heavens, whereas in Tio's it's just like the white light. It's like, it's uncanny how much better paced it is, how amazing it is, how equal they are. What's your ranks?
So for personality, I gave him a 7. The cocky attitude is actually really funny because he really can back it up. However, he does push the line. Like even though she did ask to stop into doing the clothes, like I didn't like that at first, and I knew like that wasn't the best first impression of his character. But he definitely redeems himself. He's willing to let her freely. And what I love about him is that he treats her as his equal. Even though he talks in like a way of talking down to her, like you're a lowly goldfish.
But he only gives the time of day to speak to that to like equals. Because he talks to the other gods like that. Well, he talks to her the same way.
He talks to Scorpio being like, screw you. You know what I mean? Like they don't have a good conversation. But it works for him, and I think you can mince words. So it's like a love or hate him thing. So I think like that's where I got it. But the romance was a 9 out of 10 for me. Like a 9 out of 10, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Like it was a slow burn, but knowing that he went from not trusting to like let her see a special place where no one else has been allowed to, and like just being so like, I love you so much, like it hurts. Like, you know what I mean? So like I just love it. Love her. Like he was willing to protect her, and like basically like I would say it's a little intense to be like, I'll kill everybody in this room. Yeah. And then myself. Like that's basically what he said. With the plot, it was like 8 out of 10 for me. I like that he's like, this is just me going back to the heavens, and it like definitely alternates. I think that he learns to lean. I think that doing the status can push it. So I enjoyed the plot, but I think like I wish it just had more time. Yeah. Like it kind of did go. I think that they have to fit so much in 13 chapters that they don't like give enough.
They tend to do this thing where like at the end it's like boom, boom, boom with the king, and it's like a quick thing because they tend to spend more time like on the slow burn romance, which is just the Voltage style, to be honest, and like the style of the game, because like each route can be completed in like an hour and a half.
Yeah. And then his development was a 9 out of 10 for me. Like he's this like unruly lion, but to see how he just is like, I'm so vulnerable, I love you, I like the choices that they had in this route were really great. I just loved him, it was great. The MC was an 8 out of 5 from 8 out of 5. 8.5 out of 10 for me. I love that she stood up for herself. I love that she was like bantering, talking shit, like she owns her own things. I do say that sometimes she just says things that are really not her place to say, and then she's like, I mean, like, what do you know? And it's like, oh my god, girl.
It's like it's too much.
Yeah, so that's my thought, you know, like, what are your ratings? So it's a 41.5 for me out of 50, so.
So for me, it was like almost like dead on points. Like I think I ranked his personality like slightly higher, and I rated MC like slightly higher. And by slightly higher, I mean like literally 0.5 points higher. So it's like we're pretty much spot on. But for personality, I did 7.5 out of 10. At first, he's pretty edgy. Like him and Tio, that whole moment, like that really took me back. He's a little too cocky for like my general liking, but overall I love his leadership skills, his flirtatious nature. He's also passionate and sensitive underneath his initial facade. Like the way he melts down when he falls in love, like I love that about him. And he does change unless his better qualities shine by the end. Mm-hmm. For romance, I gave it a 9 out of 10. There's a really high level of romance in this route. There's a lot of sexual tension too, so if you're into that, like this is a good route for you. They make a pact at the beginning that she can prove love is an illusion and that it's real, so that makes love like a pretty high focus. and he does treat her like a servant at first, and I feel like they took it a little too far at some point, so that's what I did dock 1 point for. But all in all, through the romance, made it one of the most exciting routes to play because of the level of romance. And though the beginning is risque, as long as you know what you're getting into, I think you'll find it really enjoyable. Yeah. I did. Plot, I gave 8 out of 10. The romance was more of a front seat for me while playing, that I even kind of forgot about the plot at times, but I suppose the romance was sort of the plot in the end anyways. He needs to learn the lesson of love from MC, and when he does, they're able to forge their own path with each other in the heavens. And there was a lot more drama with that court scene in the heavens, so it made it more exciting than some of the other endings, which could feel a little cliche. For his character development, I also give that a 9 out of 10. He goes through a lot of character development from the beginning, and his first impression to how he is at the end is like an incredible change to me, and a progress obviously much for the better. He learns to cut down his ego and genuinely care for others through the MC, and he sees humans as having something of value that he can learn from instead of just like peons. Main character, I gave her a 9 out of 10. I felt like she was really strong, and she had the ability to tame the lion. I also like that she actually learned some things from him. Like, I just felt like they were more equal. For example, like, she thought she knew best when it came to Hiyori and the guy that she was dating, but Leon ended up being right about that in the end, but she was still able to teach him something through how she loves Hiyori. Yeah. There were some times, though, in the beginning that she kind of lets him manhandle her before she really finds her footing, so that's why I docked a point. But for me, that put it at 42.5 out of 50, so just 1 point more than you did. And then overall, like, averaging that together, it's an 84 out of 100, so it's a B-. Yes,
I love Leon's art. I think it was a really powerful, like, whoever wrote that was just like hit for hit, bar for bar, definitely plays a bunch of times. And so before, I used to always like talk down about him. I'd be like, Leon sucks. Like, I hate that guy. And so Kayla got on the Switch before I did, and so she was playing and she's like, oh my god, that's a lot of content. And like, she would say something and she's like, oh my god, I don't know how they're gonna resolve this. I was like, oh, well, because it's this. And she's like, no, dude, that didn't happen in the route. And I was like, oh no, that's because it happens in like season 2. And she was like, what? And so I was like, nah, like, it just happens later.
And it wasn't just like season 2, it was like season 2 epilogue. So it's like, she's in Jeep. And I was like, you were like, yeah, I have like through season 3.
I have like all of it. And she was like, on the app or on the Switch? And I was like, on the app. And she was
like, so she was out there.
She was like, so you're a Leon fan? And I was like, yeah, I guess I am. She was like,
because she would always say that she doesn't like him. Like, yeah. So I was like surprised about it, but
okay, cool. But I really loved his route. And I think like I would love to write a character that I felt like as strongly about him, like we did with Manager. Like that's how I feel with like sometimes Leon and Hue, obviously.
All right, guys, we are finally at the finale route, our top rated route, and that is the God of Aquarius, Huedhaut. We're just going to Hue though, because that's like what he goes by. I don't even know if that's how you say it. How do you say it?
Huedhaut.
Okay, that's what I say too. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so diving into Hue, he's part of the original cast, so it's that same plot line of like removing the sin.
Yeah.
He acts really cold at first. He comes across as intelligent but very shrouded in mystery, and you can tell that the other gods respect him a lot because he's one of the only ones that when you pick, the other gods aren't like mad. Like they're like, oh, I guess that makes sense. He is kind of the best. But he doesn't really seem thrilled and even tries to discard you from the mansion, like after you pick him. But similar to the other routes, he discovers that touching you makes his powers work. So then from there, he starts to chaperone you, and of course, you have the standard scene where your coworker thinks he's your boyfriend. He continues to be pretty standoffish, and he says things like, you stare at me too much, because like you're always like trying to figure him out, so you're watching him, and he like points that out a lot. So it's kind of like, you kind of get a good mix with him, because he's not like super mean, or like super flirty, but he has like a little hint of it in the beginning, which I liked.
Yeah.
So then one night, you end up having a really vivid dream of yourself by this fountain granting people's wishes. And there's a god with midnight colored hair whose face you cannot see, who comes by and kisses you and says you're working too hard and how worried he is about you. And you wake up really spooked about how real it was, but then you're like, that was weird, I guess I'm just gonna go on with my day. You go on to work, and then it's another day later, you get summoned by Vega and Altair, which is like when you meet them in Hue's route, to actually work with Hue, granting some wishes.
That's what she says, like 10-year-olds too.
Yeah, she always says they're like 10, and it's like, you don't know. He helps a couple on their wedding day, so the bride's in a wheelchair, and he makes her able to stand, like, so that they can walk and, like, kiss at the wedding.
Yeah.
So he explains that he doesn't really like to do this, though, because even though he gave them this really happy moment, it's gonna make it hurt even worse when she dies young, because she's, like, ill. And MC wonders why he can't just save her life, and that's when Hue explains that gods can't intervene in matters of life and death, and that there's a rule against it. And after thinking for a bit about it, MC ends up stating like the way that she feels, and that she said even in the end, after losing a loved one, they would choose to have that wish granted again, I believe, because the memory will always be very precious to them. And Hugh's taken aback about that, and he softens a little bit towards you because he's been pretty standoffish up to this point. Even through his act, he has random moments of being exceedingly nice to you, though. Like, it's kind of weird because it's like he'll be cold, like he's trying to push you away, but then he'll do stuff that's like very, very nice to you, like out of nowhere when he doesn't really know you. So you're like, But after working with Hue, Leon tells you that Hugh's gonna need some time to recover, and he needs to like go back to his room because he only has stars in one of his eyes, and since that's where God's powers come from, missing one in his left eyes is gonna make him like get tired much quicker than the other gods, like pretty much 50% quicker. And so just being around the earthly impurities, he's gonna be especially sensitive. He tells you to make sure that he's okay because you wouldn't want to be guilty for killing a god. Like, so
he's so extreme for that.
He's so mean and extreme for that because he's not gonna die from being tired, but like Leon makes her think that she doesn't know anything about this world.
It's their fault. Don't sin, and we wouldn't be here.
I know, you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for that. There'd be no earthly impurities to deal with. But you freak out and you go to check on him because like Leon scared the crap out of you.
So hot ass you, dude.
Oh my god, this is like a hot moment for Hue. This is when you see Hugh's room for the first time, which is gorgeous. I really like his room. Like, his bed is like almost like floating over the pond, and then there's like all these books and then like a nice view of the sky. But anyways, he's taking a cold bath of all things, which is like weird to you because like, why would you want it cold? And he's shirtless. And you are like just trying to go in and check on him, but because his floor is like tile and slick and like the bath's happening, you slip on the floor, of course, and right into his arms. And in saying he's worried about you, he like when you fall, he says the phrase, "I can't take my eyes off of you for a second." And it triggers you back to that vivid dream that you had a couple days ago because the god with the dark blue hair, which you notice, Hue also has dark blue hair, said that exact same line when he was like worried about you granting wishes. He was like, "I can't take my eyes off you for a second."
You can't see that mop-ass design of his hair is insane. The guy would easily be like, Justin Bieber?
It's like, it's clearly his hair. Like you could put that PNG of that hairstyle wig on anything. It's like Hue. It's so obvious. So you ask him like just off the rip as soon as you like hear that line, "Have we met before?" And Hue ends up kind of teasing you by saying like, "You're dreaming about me." Oh, because you end up saying that like you think.
And he kind of freaks out because he's like, "Wait, what? Like, do you remember?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?"
He plays it like kind of cool though, and then you're like, he says something like, "Oh, dreaming about me just means that you want me. And you need to be careful about seducing gods." And I was like, oh, so he's a little saucy too. And then during this scene, she also notices his mark of sin is kind of starting to lighten. His is located on his thigh, so you don't like see it on his sprite.
I wonder what determines like where it's at.
I know. I feel like they just like made that up. Like I don't know why it determines. You could have got really deep with it because like different parts of the body like connect with different astrological signs, which could connect with specific like issues, and like they could have really gotten granular with it. But I doubt they did that. I absolutely doubt they did that.
Put it here. Put it on my thigh so I can be your good time girl. That's what it was.
So seeing him get out of the cold water, MC begins to worry about his health again because she's like, "Oh my god, you're like cold."
Like, don't take baths in warm water. And he's like, "Okay."
Yeah, he's like, "You need to like heat this up." But she's thinking about like what Leon said, and she's like, he's cold, so she's like, "Okay, lay down," and she's like, "I'll be right back." And so she's gonna go make him rice porridge because that's like standard what they make when like someone's sick in
really
human area.
Like, "You're so bossy."
Yeah, he's like, "You're being bossy." I love, they have like such a connection right off the bat. But anyways, when she gets back, he's already dressed fully in his uniform again, and he's just like sitting there, and he seems like fine. And he informs her that gods don't need to eat when she presents him with the rice porridge, and he's totally fine, and if anyone is causing him to lose any energy, it's her. So he ends up eating the porridge anyways though, so it's like, all right girl, like you're gonna say, but you're gonna eat my porridge. So later on in the week, he tells her he wants to repay her kindness, like for like being worried about him. And he takes her to the balcony of the mansion to do some stargazing with some wine that he made himself special because that's kind of like his thing. I guess it's because Aquarius is the water carrier, so they like interpret it that way. He's known for making the nectar of the gods, and I really like the conversation that they had up on the deck. Like, it went on for a decent amount of time, and I like that because sometimes they'll have like a cute snippet, but it's not quite enough. It's like a real conversation would be long, and I really got the sense that they were like bonding like under the stars for hours. They go into deeper topics like, does destiny exist? How can love change a person? And Hue ends up revealing that love can make an otherwise steadfastly logical person like himself wish for eternal love at this special fountain they have in the heavens that can help a couple's love last forever. And you're like kind of shook by that because you're like, oh, he must like is he like married?
Oh, yeah, you got a girl back home?
Because he says it like, that's what I did. Like, that's like, he says it like it's from personal experience. And MC wonders who his lover might be, but then yes, he says, oh, I'm just speaking hypothetically.
I'm like, lie again, dude. That was so specific.
It was like way too specific. It's like, oh, the drink got you feeling something. Then a shooting star passes by, and MC is like, oh, I want something wonderful to happen. And then as she says it, she realizes that she really only wishes for super vague things, like something wonderful to happen. And Hue encourages her to be more specific if she ever has a wish that she really wants to like reach the Department of Wishes in heaven and actually come true, because they really only do strong, like specific wishes.
Which is weird because I don't know whose it is, but they say because you're the reincarnated goddess, your wishes are always heard.
Yeah, I think they do say that, but like he was like, no, that's not how it works. When MC realizes that she doesn't have any specific wishes or wants, he tells her not to rush and that she'll find her something wonderful at her own speed, and it's one of her good points. And you're just like, And then he's like, yeah, like the good points of like humans in general, because you guys like work and like find your own way.
Like just say you're in love with me, like do that.
It's like, it's a little too late. You made that weird.
You made it? Why are you being weird to me?
Literally.
Like you're just saying, like you're so in love with me, it's insane. Like just say it. Like you don't gotta convince me I saw that body. Like we're in to win it.
Like this moment on the deck, like the way they're like giving each other eyes is like, it's something. But we cut to a new day and MC is on a work retreat at a lake house. And midway through the excursion with her co-workers, Leon, Tio, and Hue crashed the party because they were looking for MC at home and at work and they couldn't find her, and then she didn't say that she was gonna be gone, so they're like freaking out, mad at her. And because MC can't leave this work retreat, she has to explain who they are to the coworkers and ends up going with Hue's her boyfriend, since her closest coworker friend Hiyori already thought that anyways. And then she says that Leon is her brother and Tio is her cousin. He's sick. Tio getting the cousin role, he's so pissed about it. Like cousin Tim over here.
I feel like, I know this is a dumb thing to remember, but I love when she like screams and he's like, why are you screaming bloody murder? You see, calm down. I can only imagine like somebody being like, that's my brother, and everyone's like, you don't look alike, so somebody's a cheater in that family.
It's funny though because they make her hair the same color as Leon's, like when they do the artwork, it does kind of work.
What gets me is when he goes long haired and I'm like, oh, so we're twins.
Oh, so you guys are twins.
Like,
lost that
look at me, my man.
So anyways, after that like weird situation happens and they just like basically say that they're foreign and stuff as usual, they all end up having a barbecue together, and Hiyori starts asking Hue some intimate questions like, oh, how'd you meet MC, and like what do you love about MC? And he ends up saying that she has so many qualities that he didn't possess, and so he found himself drawn to her instantly, and that what he likes about her is that she's sensitive and delicate and he can't take her eyes off her, but at the same time she can be really bold. As he is going on, MC starts to like heat up and feel some kind of way about him saying those things about her because it seemed like he was being for real. Like he actually felt that way about her.
For real, you know? You just make that up.
After the barbecue, Hue ends up sneaking into your room saying he came to see you. It's literally like dark and he comes in and he's like, I came to see you, and you're like, oh my god, is this it?
Have you ever seen the movie My Best Friend's Wedding?
I think so. What's some of the plot?
Julia Roberts and Cameron Diaz. And so remember when her like assistant or something comes up and she's saying that's her fiance, and she's like, oh, I wasn't here yesterday, and he was like, oh, he came up here just to fuck me. Like it's clear as day.
Bro, I loved that movie. Every day when I wake up. So Hue sneaks into your room and he says he's there to see you, and there's like a little bit of romance there, but then he admits that like he actually came because there's a meteor shower tonight and you all should be able to grant some wishes tonight. So you, Hue, Tio, and Leon all sneak off to the lake to do some work, using the lake as a wish catcher. While there, you end up falling into the lake, and when Hue comes to save you, the combination of the stars reflecting in the lake, it mimics the wishing fountain in your dreams, and then Hue being right there in the same position, at the same time makes you realize that he is the one in your dreams and that they aren't dreams, but they're actually past life memories. And you suddenly have a vision of an extended version of that same dream that you had, and it plays in your mind, and you can clearly see it's Hue this time, and he tells you that he wants to go with you to wish for eternal love at the fountain because he loves you so much. Then you come back to reality.
Sick.
I remember when I first ever played this, because I've played this several times now, so I might not seem like that shocked. Like, whereas like Lou, it was my first time playing it, so I was like really shocked by the plot points. But when I first saw this, I was like,
dude, it made me emotional, honestly. I got
literally
emotional.
teared up. I remember where I was when I first played this. I was on my lunch break at work when I worked at Orion, and I was like in Old Town Scottsdale, and I had gotten a burrito at America's Taco Shop, and I was like parked kind of by that Panera, and I was just like eating my burrito, and it was like on auto, and I just remember stopping eating my burrito and being like,
I was emotional about it because I was like,
right.
That's crazy. Like, he's asking her to be at the at this fountain, and like, it doesn't come up till way later, but if they do this, that means that they can't be with anybody else, just for context. Like, once you do it, even if that person dies, like, you cannot be with anybody else.
And like, this dream, you guys, it's like so powerful. Like, he's like coming up to her and like touching her back and like kissing her and saying, I love you so much. It's like,
sickening.
It like made my heart be like, oh my God, you had this with me and you're watching me go around with these other gods.
She's getting her back blown out.
I felt horrific because he was not the first one I played.
I also feel, I'll get to that when we actually do the ranking. I'm just saying, like, can you imagine, like, watching the former love of your life getting banged?
It's heartbreaking.
And here's the thing. Imagine her going with Tio and you're like, that asshole?
You threw away us for him.
And then, or get this, oh, the dude with the toys? That's your man?
The only one, like, I feel like he has to be, like, okay, it's like Leon, because it's like he's so high up. He's like, well, he
I think
is,
that's
like,
even worse, because he's like this great god who knew what you were going through. Like, I can almost excuse the others. I can excuse racism. But and look cruelty. I think the only honest to God one that I can fully excuse is Scorpio, because he's new. Like to the god thing.
Yeah, and he's in a different department. I almost can excuse anyone in a different department, to be honest. Like, I don't fully excuse them, but like,
Scorpio though the most, because he wouldn't have been fully around for all of it.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't even know her or you like that.
Scorpio was the first one I played. He's a banger, by the way.
So bad. It made me like tear up. So I was like, that's crazy.
I instantly felt guilty for ever touching another route.
I was like
I felt it in my soul.
I'm a harlot.
I literally was like, I'm sorry.
I let it in.
Anyways, you come back to reality, and the second he realizes that you know, because he like saw you like just sitting there seeing it in your mind, like you can see it all over your face. I can see into the future.
Can you imagine just coming back poppy like, hey, you ever seen that show That's So Raven? That's what I feel like.
He's like, no. Anyways, he picks you up. It's like this romantic thing because you guys are like in the water and like he was like holding you and then he picks you up and like the meteors are like falling and he like is walking out with you.
All I can picture is ditzy ass dumbass Tio being like,
Timbo, Leo, and Tio are just sitting there like,
he's like,
yup. Both of them are like, she knows now, like let's just let them be, like let's step to the side. And that when they said that right here, I was like, oh, so you all know, and said, F you, we're gonna date her now in your own routes. Wow. But anyways, he lets himself fully give in once you're back in the room in the cabin, and he's just like, he can't hold back anymore. He's like, my freaking goddess, what love of my life, like you're here. MC is having mixed feelings though, like because it's like dark and he's like holding her. And after he notices that you're not really like reciprocating like the hug that he's giving you, he pulls away and he apologizes and he's like, is it all right if I just hold you for the night? Like, because it's like a lot that this just happened. And then I promise, like, I'll lock away my feelings after that. Because I can clearly see you don't feel the same way.
I feel bad for her, though, because you care about this person and he cares about who she was. It's not as though that, I think that he's conflicted at this point, but in her view, and it would be in my view, you don't love me, you love me because I hold a piece of that. Yeah. I think of it, again, in comparison, like Inuyasha's still going back to Kikyo, and Kagome's a reincarnated version of her. Yeah. So like for Kagome, the struggle is like, do you love me because I'm me, or do you love that person? And I'm a reflection of that. And obviously Inuyasha proves later on, but like in the idea of like the manga does it better, but it's like if she made a choice that you could be with her, would you do it? And it's like a struggle because what do you say? I loved her and I didn't want to lose her. I just did.
Yeah.
So
you say that he can, but you feel really conflicted because of exactly what you're saying. You definitely do feel the same way about him. Like you really do like him and love him, and you felt those feelings from that dream. But you feel like the person he loves isn't really you, aka you don't really connect yourself as the goddess of fate. You feel like a B-grade stand-in for the true love of his life.
Yeah.
But on your own, you did fall for him in the now.
Can you imagine too, like the lack of confidence I have in our relationship? We would struggle for a long time because I would think about it a lot. Like,
for me,
am I a consolation prize?
For me though, like as the time went on and like I started thinking about it more, I can get into it more like when I do the ranking, but I feel like it's her entire soul. So it's like it's the full same soul. It's not like a piece or a fragment of her. And I feel like your soul is your highest self and your truest essence. So if she really felt connected to like her soul and her inner, like she wouldn't feel so much like that's a different person, because it literally isn't. It's just her, like in her previous life. Like when you do like a past life regression and stuff like that, like it's you, like you see yourself. Like, so that's what got me a little bit torn about it. I don't fully feel like she's wrong because I get her feelings too. Like I feel exactly how you felt too.
Yeah.
But the more that I thought about it, I was like, but it's just her. It's just her. Like it's her same full soul. A soul is what breathes life into like our vessel. So that's what got me. It's just like these human memories she has. It's like she can't really connect to her soul.
I guess, but for me, it's associating that she couldn't be anything else. Like, for me, the MC is now a new person with new life. Like, the soul can be repeated and reincarnated, but she's not that person. Like, the way it comes off at first is that, again, I think that he genuinely feels for her. Like, yes, I love that person, and that's your soul, but I love you. Like, it's not that I love just the
that's
past.
important to happen. I feel like that is an important thing for him to come to terms with. It's just like, I feel like when it's her same soul now having a human experience. Like, that's how I view it, like spiritually. But anyways, it's like, this is like a heavy route. Like, it's a lot to think about. And I also like that about it because it gets you thinking. Like, it's definitely not basic. But anyways, the next day when you return to the mansion, Hue apologizes and basically refuses to answer any further questions about the past or further talk about like what went down. And he becomes cold again, like he was in the beginning, only worse. And in your hurt and confusion, Karno and Leon step in to explain to you the truth of what happened. Because like pretty much, they basically say everyone in the heavens knew what happened. Like it was like a famous story.
Y'all knew. Yeah. And you let me get banged.
And it's such a big thing because it's like, I think it's like the only time where God is like sacrifices herself like that. So it's like gonna be in like the history books up there. So I think everyone would know. But anyways, they tell you that you were formerly the goddess of fates. You and Hue were lovers and a famous couple in the heavens because you were so perfect for each other. However, one day, humans had reached a point that they were going to be destroyed because they had lost the ability to love. And because you, as the goddess of fate, loved humans so much, you chose your own destruction in order to save humanity and give them a second chance to like find love again.
Not me.
And that's when Hue committed a sin. When he saw you do that, he sacrificed the stars in one of his eyes just to keep your soul intact so that you could be reincarnated and live again. And after she's fully filled in on this, Hugh ends up being in the hall waiting for her, and he's like, okay, let's talk. And he decides to just open up to her and apologize for shutting down earlier. And he talks about how much he loved the goddess and how she was the complete opposite of him, leading with her feelings instead of logic and systems. He confesses that the moment he saw you, he recognized your eyes and he just couldn't stay away from you, which again is sad for the other routes. But anyways, he does say that he won't confess if she actually looks like the goddess physically, which I found that was like an interesting point. I'm curious, like, did you look like the goddess? Mm-hmm. But when he mentions about her allowing herself to be sacrificed for humans, you say, like, I just don't agree with that statement and, like, the way that you're characterizing it. Like, you're saying that, like, my former self sacrificed and, like, she's a victim. And he was like, you really are her, aren't you? And it starts to play more into, like, the core confusion of this whole thing. Because is it really you that he loves or only, like, the past life that you had? but it's the same soul, so the whole thing is just a lot. He opens up that he can't see a loss as anything other than a loss. Even though you and the goddess can be happy about a short time spent together, he lets the loss of things overshadow it. And he's really like good at communicating that. It's like he like tells her himself, like he like has analytically found out this about himself, and I liked that he shared that.
I'll say too, the way that they go into detail about how this goes, it kind of somewhat sours on all the other ones because they keep it as like it's so specific to his, but you would think that they would keep it across the board. But she does like they say that she sacrificed, but like a lot of the times it goes like it's like really unheard of that like the goddess is reincarnated. Like isn't that crazy? Like they don't know, and it's like you very clearly do.
Yeah.
So
it is. It's like clearly everyone would know about this thing that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, she basically saved the earth from being destroyed. Like that's a pretty big deal. But you finally start to see his feelings, and you feel regretful and frustrated that he would have been abandoned like by your former self. Like the fact that you start to see like, okay, well, like you loved her so much, so the fact that she chose humanity over you, like I can see that, like I can kind of see where you're coming from, and you start to feel like, dang, he, like the former goddess like that I was abandoned this man that I love. That scene ends with you wondering if gods grant the wishes of humans, who grants the wishes of the gods? Then the gods end up having a little party later on, and there's some cute moments between the cast, but at one point Dewey brings up the fact that Hue's mark is almost gone, so he's going to have to depart back to the heavens soon. So you start to get depressed about that. Hue notices and follows you to the balcony to chat. He mentions that it used to be hard for him to be around you because you remind him of the past, but over time, he started to really love being around you and seeing you smile. Then there's a time cut, and it's you and Hue going on an outing. He takes you to all sorts of places that you want to go, and you start to wonder if this is some kind of final date that he's like putting on for you, because you've been depressed lately, so he frames it as I'm cheering you up, but you're like, is this like a final?
It's final to me.
Yeah, and it turns out that it is. He basically tells you to go back to living your normal life. The sadness.
How can I do that? What?
He says the sadness is only going to be temporary. Then he takes you back to the mansion, and on the balcony he begins to glow, and before you know it, he just completely disappears.
They make it seem too that like when they're like, I'm gonna say goodbye, you're like, no offense, I have 5 other people I have to help.
I know.
Like, they're not gonna go away. Like a good example is Aigo. So Aigo and her obviously ended up together. He chooses to stay on Earth, where the other ones also all are like in and out, so that he can go and be with you. And for whatever reason, the gods choose not to leave. They're like, no, I'm cool with being here. Like, why?
It's so weird.
You talk all that shit. Why are you here?
I know, they hate it, and then they love it. Like, what is it? So you go on pretty depressed after this because he literally just disappeared in front of you, and you're never gonna see him again.
Yeah.
So as you're like in your depression, like it kind of echoes within the weather because it starts raining a lot and it's just like dreary. But you just continue to work with the gods who still have their marks as needed and work your day job. And then one evening you're at the mansion working with Tio. When Ziglavis, god of Libra, comes in, talking shit with scary music playing in the back.
He's such a villain in it. It's so crazy. And then the fact that they had the audacity, like, what if we build him a route?
Yeah, it's insane. Vega explains that he's the minister of the Department of Punishments. He basically demands that you be handed over for disposal. And you're like, what? And then Leon steps in and is like, no, we need her here. Like, we're doing a thing here. And Ziglavis then says that your goddess self is awakening to a point that is going to be too much for your physical body. And on top of that, it is starting to throw the earth completely out of whack. Like, have you noticed it's been raining for like several days?
To kill her every time. Not even like, what's another solution we can find? Like, what if we still away your powers a bit? He's like, let's kill her.
He literally wants to murder her. So then he drops a bomb that Hue is actually up there in heaven trying to kill himself to save the earth.
Calm down.
Because the earth is getting thrown off by your feelings for him. I don't know how him killing himself would correct that, but I guess.
That would make me worse. I don't know if you know, but if the love of my life died, I'm gonna be sad. Like, what?
So Ziglavis is like, no, I'm just gonna go down and kill her so that we're good. So that's why he's come down to kill you.
Fun fact, he's gonna kill himself more.
I know. It's a suicide pact.
That's the only one that actually makes sense. Like, four childhood friends died of suicide pact.
Literally. So that's why he's come down to kill you before Hue can kill himself.
I think it's kind of stupid. Oh my god.
Because Hue wouldn't need to anymore because the Earth would be corrected as soon as she dies in Zig's mind. And he says you're gonna die either way anyways due to your power. Because even if Hue saves the Earth again for you, like your power is getting too great for your body, so it's gonna bust basically. He's like,
let
you're
me
gonna
die that way, dumb.
What? Combust. But we gotta do something about Earth is in his mind. So, anyways, you say he'll refuse for the Earth to be destroyed. I like how they're like, the Earth is gonna be destroyed, and you're like, no, it's not.
I refuse to let that happen. Okay? What are you gonna do? Tell me 5 things that you know what to do with the powers that you have.
Because Zig is basically like listing the options that you have, and he's like, you're like, well, I refuse the option where the Earth gets destroyed, and I also refuse the option where Hue sacrifices himself. And as you say that, you start activating your divine power. Like you're like,
she said, Ben 10.
Yeah.
She said, have you ever seen Transformers? Because that's what's about to happen right now.
Literally, I don't know what it's from, but I just think of Holy Spirit, activate, activate. I think it's like that crazy lady that wants Trump to win, so she starts like doing chants. Yeah.
For whatever reason, also makes me think where she's like, I'm gonna turn into a car right now. I don't know why I didn't play all of Cupid Parasite, but like that's what that makes me think of.
Yeah, it is.
You're being extreme right now.
So you start activating your divine power, and everyone's like, no, that's too much. Like you're gonna die. Like didn't he just say that? And your power.
She's done too.
Your power ends up going out of whack and opens up a dimensional zone, and you go in there. Stop that.
I'm so tired.
Our ceiling looks like a dimensional zone. Anyways.
Oh, what? Say it again.
I said the ceiling looks like a dimensional zone.
Oh.
Because if you guys could see the ceiling, there's like just branches hanging from it.
That's exactly what happened.
But anyways, it looks like a psychedelic, like purple, like it's like basically a void, but like kind of weird. And when you go in there, Hue appears inside, and you begin to have a flashback to when you sacrificed yourself in the past. So it's like kind of just continuing the vision of like your past with Hue.
Yeah.
And then you see like when Hue sacrifices eye for you, and it just like really hurts you like seeing it again. And then before you know it, you're actually at the wishing fountain in front of the actual Hue. So like you end up at the fountain from the dreams that you've been having, and then like Hue is really there. Like it's not just a dream anymore. And he starts to tell you that it's really his fault this is happening, and then you start like wheezing and feeling weak, and Hue tries to heal you, but it doesn't help because it's like getting too much for your body. Hue was about to sacrifice his final stars and his good eye to save you and the Earth, but then Ziglav is busted again, and he says,
"Hater, dude, hater! Like I could say you with some girlies. Like what?
I think you could stop."
Me loves him in his route.
I can't wait to play his because I feel like it's gonna be interesting. But anyways, he says the situation on Earth has changed. Even though you're no longer on Earth causing the issue, because he thought it was you causing the issue, the Earth is still like in major crisis mode. So like killing you like wasn't the solution, which he concludes. Oh no. He says which he concludes means you being alive anywhere at all in the heavens or otherwise is an issue. And he's like, so we gotta get her. Like we gotta like axe her right now. And he refuses to hand you over. And then Zig drops another bomb when he makes a little quip like, I wonder how much of this you knew would happen, Hue. And you're like, wait. And,
right, because she doesn't know his power.
Yeah, and it's really not that big of a deal, but it's like they make it seem like a big deal. And he's like, yep, that's right. Hugh's power is to see the future by touching someone's face. And Hue says he can't see life and death though because then he'd want to
power.
because then he'd want to change something, and like they can't be doing that, which like contradicts the fact that it's Lou's power. But anyway, that's just kind of an aside though, because they like move on right away. Like they don't. There's no other
real calamity, so they gotta be like, wait.
So Hue proceeds, anyways, turning into his god form, and then he starts going for his eye, just as Hue's about to do something.
What?
Yeah,
he's like,
it's even a CG. Like,
he's gonna do it, and everyone's like, you're so extreme because that doesn't. The other thing that's crazy is they have no proof that'll work. They're just assuming that it will.
Well, he does have the proof that, like, in the past when she did it, like, it worked. Well, I guess she didn't do the eye thing, though. She just killed herself.
She killed herself.
Crazy. Just as Hue... Well, that's, like, how he would kill himself. Anyways, just as Hue's going to do something, your powers kick up again, and you confess that you love him, even if he's only doing it for the goddess's soul. You love him as you. Hue then confesses that it's you too that he loves, like you in the now, and he's doing it for your future, and that the past is the past. And in this conversation, you decide.
So just like top liver.
That's why I felt so conflicted. I'm gonna talk about it in like the thing, but it's like if they're the same person, like, it is a mental conundrum. And in the conversation, you decide that there has to be a way for both of you to survive, because you truly believe that we each can grant our own wishes. Like, she basically decides, like, we make our own luck. And so, like, when she had been thinking that before, like, well, who grants a god their wishes? Like, they do it themselves. And it's like, I can do it myself.
Yeah.
Anyways, the goddess of fate's soul begins to radiate, and you can actually hear her speak, which is kind of weird because it's like it's supposed to be you, but like, I don't know, like, you hear words, and she says some words about humanity being worth it, and she doesn't regret her decision at all to like do this. And then Hue confesses to you more clearly that he's in love with you, and then at that moment the earth's storms all begin to clear up. The king of the heavens appears and informs Hue that this is his real sin, was losing his ability to love and being swallowed up by sorrow and regret and not understanding the goddess's message. So that's why his mark of sin actually disappeared at that point. So like all of that culminating, like finding his true love with MC, and then the goddess like saying again that she doesn't regret her message, like kind of clicked for him. And then the king tells you that because your powers are linked with your heart, when you became sad that Hue left for the heavens, that's what threw the earth off of balance. And now that you feel confident in your love for him, the chaos on earth stops. So it's like was directly linked to her like heart being like sad or happy.
The other gods, I've been like, wow, that's so unstable and bad.
I know, like we can't just do this on whims. Then the king asserts that you dying would have been much, much worse for the earth. Looking at Zig.
I would throw that in his face.
And he literally, like, Zig basically needs to step off, and he's like, Zig is like, but she's a human, and he's a god, like, that's another sin in chapter 3, like, he's like, literally pulling up the rule book, and the king's like, it doesn't matter, because they are bonded by fate. And then in this final chapter, the king gives Hue a special ring so that he can visit Earth without any issues, which this is weird to me because the way they make it in Hue's is that as soon as like the mark of sin's gone, he needs to return to heaven because a god with full powers being on Earth would throw off all the balance of everything, and so he cannot be on Earth if he's full powered up. The only way they could be there is if they're like sinned and like disgraced. So that's not the case though in any other things.
Other than Leon's.
And Leon's.
The same way, it's because his power is so bad that he'll mess with like the elements. But Aigo's and everybody else's, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't matter, yeah. And then also, like, even when she's finished their mark of sin, all 11 gods, other gods, like the 12th one would be with you in the heavens, like protecting you. They're all on Earth for weeks, months, days. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, the king is like, I just lie and I'm a liar.
But like within just this route, like speaking just for this route, it feels like a cute moment or whatever in a detail. But yeah, he gives him the ring so he can visit without any issues. They said like you forge like your own way and you can go back and forth. And then you and Hue get some alone time in this garden with some little mushy lines, a final CG. I got the blessed ending, and I will say that the CG's definitely, I randomly wrote this down, the CG's definitely filled the screen space better than some of their other games. Because you know how sometimes it's just like the guy there and then the background's like kind of blurry?
That was, yeah.
Whereas I feel like in this one, it's like a composed scene. Like the CGs are quite nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Hue's route. So let me give you my ranking for it. So for personality, I gave him a 10 out of 10. His personality is very genuine to Aquarius, and it makes for a great love interest who you can really bond with. We chose Aquarius for manager's personality in our games for this reason. It's a really great like personality archetype to go with. I like the fact that when he was cold to you, there was a genuine reason for it, hiding how close he actually was to you in a past life. And I loved how romantic he ended up being. He's very intelligent as well, so he's able to make creative quips that keep you on your toes, and like it's just like a mental equal for MC. For romance, I also gave that a 10 out of 10. It's a dramatic romance tale with lots of heart-pounding, chest-clenching moments in here. Like, we said we teared up, and like, we really don't do that.
Yeah.
It was a very high level of romance because like the full plot was romance based with Hue.
Yeah.
I gave the plot an 8.5 out of 10. I remember the first time I read it, it like completely blew me away, and it was so different from any of the others, and I truly romance that stands the test of time. But reading it again for this review, I docked like a 1.5 because I felt like the ending was a little bit rushed, inconsistent, and some pieces were a little bit cliche. But overall, it's definitely one of the stronger plots in the game. Like, I'm not hating on it, I just like was trying to be fair. And then for Hue, the love interest character development, I gave that a 10 out of 10 because Hue's character development was like just very, very good. He starts out cold, closed off to love. A lot of them don't understand love, but like, yeah. He also, more than that, doesn't understand the Goddess of Fate's message and why she did what she did for humanity. And he ends up fully understanding it, learning to love again, and completely opening up to the MC. So it was like perfect. He learned all of the lessons he needed to. For the main character, I gave her an 8 out of 10. The main character's personality is sweet, and she's a hopeless romantic. It really matches the Goddess of Fate's personality. Like, the things that she says are, like, complete parallels to how the Goddess of Fate was, based on, like, the visions and stuff. The only reason I docked a couple points was because there was a little bit of confusion with the soul not really being her, but to me, like, your soul is you, your purest essence, and I wish she would have connected to it a little bit more, leaned into her feelings of, like, feeling like she was the Goddess of Fate instead of having it be so separate, and that Hue needed to forget about his past love completely and learn to love her as a new person, which he did, and that is nice too, but at the end of the day, it is the same soul, and a soul is what makes you alive, so it just was like, I was torn on it. Like, I'm not saying the way that they did it was bad, it's just like, I felt conflicted. I didn't feel like that was perfect, you know what I mean? So that's why I give it 8 out of 10. But yeah, that would leave my score for him to be a 46.5 out of 50.
So for me, I did personality for him 10 out of 10. I like that he's a smart ass. I love that he just like kind of like I love the banter between him and the other gods. I really like that, again, that they always just like care for each other. I think with him is that like he gives, like he'll say something to her like, I don't need your compliment, and then take it, or like, I don't need to eat food but eats it and stuff like that, and like listens to her. I think that's the intelligent side of things. It does remind me of Manager. Like Manager felt how he felt, like I know I'm correct, but then he's like, I can see your points.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed that. I think that like being willing to admit like, yeah, like I'm struggling and so devoted. Like again, I know it sounds corny, but like Manager is so dedicated to the MC, the lengths that he goes for her. That's how I see Hue. Like Hue does the same to kind of cover up things or like do stuff because he still loves.
It's like true dedication, devotion.
Yeah, so I really like that. For me, the romance was about an 8 out of 10. I think I struggled very hard with like, even though he says like I'm truly in love with you, the thought is that like it took so long for you to fully get to that point. Like, do you? I think I would just struggle. Like, that's really what it is. And so
yeah, it's confusing. It's confusing.
So that's how I felt. I think for me, the plot is a 10 out of 10. He was, so Scorpio was technically the first one I ever read, but he was next. And I think, like, to me, Hue was the secret true route. Like, this was very much wrapped around his idea, like, his past, the present, like, everything was Hue. So for me, it, like, carried it there, and you can tell so much went into it.
Because I mean, that's
that way.
Why she's here in the first place.
Yeah.
Her soul would not have reincarnated had he not sacrificed like literally one of his eyes, like one of his powers.
Yeah, and I think what I like a lot, one of the big points about the plot, even though I struggle with it on the romance side, Hue and her were going to make an ultimate promise, and to lose that was to have to basically like continue on knowing that the person you love is just out there somewhere, and who knows, like, because they could have found her, she could have been married, and then he would have been like, wow,
yeah,
that sucks.
That would have been really freaking hard.
And so yeah, so that's just like that. With his development, 10 out of 10 for me. Like, Hue was so willing to go the distance and change, and like he was closed off to not being closed off and being like, I will still sacrifice if that means that you get to be happy, whether I'm here or not, because I now understand why you sacrificed.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the same spot and I'm going to do it. Though it was a little ill-guided because nobody asked any questions, like, hey, how's this going to work out? Like, do some research.
Yeah.
But, like, still, I like that. I think for me, well, I also give the main character 10 out of 10, and I like, one of my favorite character moments of hers is she could have gone the other route and saying, like, despite that you love me for being the past, I'll take it. She reminds me again of like Kagome. Like, I'm not Kikyo, I'm me. So either you want me for me, or like that's kind of where it's at. And then she gets to Hue's level, and she also calls Hue out. Like, yeah, oh well, I did this, and you thinking what you're like, whatever you're trying to do is gonna diminish what she did. I get you being lonely though, and that sucks. So it's hard because it kind of calls back to like the woman thing, and so that's what made me give her like. I liked her. So I gave, overall, it was a 48 out of 50 for me.
Yeah. I think my thing with it is just like, when it comes to Kagome, everything she knows about Kikyo, she was told by other people. Like, Kikyo feels like a complete other person to her. Whereas, like, with this MC, like, she herself is dreaming about it and feeling herself in these dreams. So that's, like, what it, like, was so confusing to me. I just wish they would have made it clearer, like, how much of the memories of the goddess did she have, because it seemed like she was getting all of them back. So it was like, do you like merge those? I don't know. But yeah,
I don't want them.
she has at least like a good chunk of them. But overall, adding that together, 94.5 out of 100. An A, the best route. Yeah, and I would love to hear your guys' opinion on these routes, Leon and Hue, because they're my favorite to like discuss and talk about with people.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, especially Hue's, it's like there's so many like elements to it. So I'd love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I think with this, like again, they had really great routes. We obviously talked throughout. The biggest issue that I have with these games is they obviously wrote them per route. Like the route is the story, and that screws up the lore. For me, it's so important that the lore and the rules are the same, because then it makes it that like regardless of what happens with this character, all of those things can still occur. I think a cool option would be is like she obviously is done with this one, so when they get to the sequel, that they're rivaling how she's gonna do it, because how they remove the mark is so significant. So then all of a sudden it's like she's doing basic menial things to get the other ones. That makes no sense, because how is this so intense?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's like literally all of their marks of sin, like it's revealed at the end that it was whatever they said they did was kind of a front, and the true reason they have it is because they don't know how to love. And I don't know.
Yeah, so for it to not be continuously the same throughout makes it hard. So like again, if you have a centralized thing that makes them meet and then they just have separate path, it doesn't make it formulaic, but it means that like the rules can still apply. Yeah. So if you ever played Evermore and stuff, you know like Daichi's character, what that's happening with that route, and then if you play Minoru, whatever happened in Daichi still can occur without her being there. It just is how he would react to it is different.
Yeah, so the only things that don't happen are things that were triggered by her choosing to be involved.
Yeah.
But things that happen like outside of it, like so for example, I think I've used this like example before, but if somebody's dad gets in a car crash on like May 5th, like that person's dad gets in a car crash on May 5th. That's got nothing to do with you and that guy. It's like that's just something that he's always going to deal with. So like I feel like it doesn't make sense to like take that away. I don't know.
It's super important. So like Hiro, like the main part of Hiro's route is that he wants to get on his own contract. In every single route that gets mentioned that he accomplishes it. Yeah, I got into a new contract doing what I want to do. That never changes. Now what happens between him and the MC, that's their romance, and that's
the journey to getting there is like
its own thing. But if you play managers, that journey still happens. It just is now their encompassed friendship versus the love of it because she's in love with somebody else.
Right.
But his route or his path never changes. It still occurs because that was the main entity to get there.
Yeah, and even like with Kyosuke, there's something that happens with Kyosuke where there's someone that is looking for him, and that person is around looking for him in all of the other routes. So if you play it, you might pick up on that. But yeah.
So I think like with that, I think that's important because the rules change so hard and fast. It goes from gods never die to gods die more often than you think. And like,
they can be in the stars, or they have to do a crazy thing to die. Like
if you get cast out of the heavens, you instantly die. But in Leon's, it says that she fell from grace, and then she was like sent back to the humans, and she was never she's never going to come back to heaven. So the rules change, and it makes it harder because it's like what is a rule and what isn't. And
what's a hard and fast rule? Like
so then it's like they clearly either had multiple people right. They probably obviously had multiple.
They did because it's not like. Voltage is a company. Like they outsource things constantly, and like that's why the backgrounds all don't match. Like there's a lot of things that bother me because I love this theme so much. So to see, even if Tempest get $2 million budget and everything consistent and additional gameplay and like fully voiced, and like this concept, I just feel like deserved the work and the money more. Like
because even as Tempest, they wrap it up by saying that the basically it's like. The way that the witch is in that is that the same way the king is in this. That they just have wins, so they can do whatever they want.
Right, and even then, like, they didn't necessarily do a great job with even if either. But I just like would have preferred this to be the game that got all the top of the line R and the top of the line treatment. I still think it's like amazing with what they did and the budget that they had. Like I love it, but just like we've talked about too, like we personally would love to like make a game of this theming, but do it like the way that we would see fit. If you can speak or understand Japanese or like you're good at translating it for gameplay purposes, I definitely recommend like the Angelique Retour specifically because you're gonna get like better lore, amazing art and music and everything, and like just like a similar experience if you played this and you're like craving more.
Yeah, because I think they had so much to tap into. Powers that would be associated with the guys and all that.
Yes, the powers that they picked for each god not matching,
Crazy.
that was such a missed opportunity. Like, they could have gone off of, like, element, they could have gone off of planet, like, so many different things that are associated with a zodiac sign that they could have pulled from, and they just didn't.
And I would have loved to see something like they have siblings. So, like, they're the ruler of that constellation, but they're not the only one in the universe that would be that. So it's proven that, like, Lou's over the Sagittarius, but his adoptive father was first. So
Yeah,
that means
like,
they don't have to be linked to each other that way.
Yeah, and then also, they can also be linked, like, for example, you said in Scorpio, they have a baby together, and it's a Scorpio. Like,
so those are things that to tap in, like, how that works. Let them have twins, it's a struggle, and it would have so much good plot behind it, but, like, that works. I know Kirov, that's the one, he has a sister.
oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's like, it's doable, they just don't.
Yeah, they just don't keep it consistent, like, across. Like, I feel like some routes, like, they just really shit the bed on, like, for lack of a better word. Like, Tio, for example, like, that was rough. Like, you're telling me, like, you could write Leon and Hue and then Tio? Like, it just doesn't even deserve to be in the same game, in my opinion.
I think if they would have tapped into more of the past of Tio, like they tried to Jimmy Hammer in later.
Yeah, they had an okay premise. They just needed to execute it better.
That would have been the much better story, because you have this guy, like, again, what they say and what happens, like, he's a fiending for attention. I'm like, he gets it. I don't get that, but,
yeah,
you know, but that's the game. Again, I love it. I can play it leisurely. I think it was a great price on the Switch. I would play this game over and over again.
After stories and specials are great too. I know we didn't cover those here, but like,
yeah,
I definitely recommend them. They're great. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being on this long journey. It is now 11:13 p.m.
12 hours.
She arrived here at 10 a.m. So it's been a very busy day, and we might be looking a little rough. But yeah, I hope you guys are excited for more things from Latte and Foam, and we'll talk to you guys in our next podcast. Bye.
Bye.